Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So I got a comment on one of my videos saying that, one of my audience members was like, hey, I just jumped back into the game and I feel overwhelmed. I don't understand what I need to do. In fact, from my last video talking about players returning, I've been seeing some of these comments just crop up. In fact, an agent here said that they started playing the game or they wanted to play the game when it first released, but they had a new kid and they couldn't invest as much time, and now they're just jumping into the game. So can you imagine? That's just the way Division's community is. We have a lot of people that have different obligations, so our demographics is very different from other demographics of video games in the sense that they have wider range audiences. Mostly in the Division, we have audiences that are much more mature, 24 and up. If you're under 18 or 18 playing the Division 2, you are a very, very small minority and outlier, and welcome to the community. You're in the right place to play a game that is a big brain game. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and explain gear because I feel like that concern or that comment is probably coming from a place where the person doesn't understand how gear and brand sets work. So I think what we should do is we should just explain attributes and talents and talk about them in this video. And for those of you that are veterans, if you're reading through the comments, because that's what veterans would do, keep an eye out for somebody who may not understand what's going on, and you might be able to provide quick insight for them to have some progress being made. So here's the thing. Brand sets are, pretty much items that you can put on. There's 6 of them. I feel like I made this video before. You have a mask, backpack, gloves, chest piece, a holster, and knee pads. This is the basis for Tom Clancy's The Division setup. In the first game, you as an agent also had these things. Now, these are not cosmetic items. In fact, these are items that do carry stats on them in order to make your agent powerful. On each item, you have a core attribute that you can see there on the right side of the screen. And the core attribute pretty much tells you, what it is that you have. In the case of this particular item, the core attribute is your skill tier. And your skill tier is pretty much meaning that your skills are getting one more tier of power, if you get what I mean. So let's explain that real quick. Let's jump into say my skills. On the bottom here of the screen, on that row, you're going to see that I have a turret. So when I open up the turret, if you look very closely, you're going to see that let me go back. I just accidentally did that. I'm trying to use a mouse and a controller at the same time. So on the regular artillery turret, it shows me what skill tier I'm on. I'm on skill tier 6. What this means is I'm getting an extra 100%, 120% damage and 420% health. And if I'm on, say, skill tier 1, I'm getting an extra 20% damage, 70% health. And that scales as I get more skill tiers. Meaning that if I were to want to build my gear, I should realistically try as much as possible to get more skill tiers if I want that turret to do more damage. It's very simple. Now, other things that could also add to the power of my particular turret will be things like skill damage. In the case of this brand set, it is the Murakami Industries set. If I put on 3 different pieces of it, meaning any 3 pieces, I'm talking chest piece, in this case I have the mask, the chest piece, and the knee pads, I get all of the bonuses that comes with it. So one piece of it will give me 20% skill duration, meaning my turret is going to last much longer if I'm using an auxiliary turret. Some skills have a length of time that when you deploy them, they'll stay on. And so after that length of time, they'll explode or destroy them. They'll self-destruct. So this means I get an extra 20%. Say if I have maybe my skill lasts for 20 seconds, 20% will be 2 extra seconds. It's a big deal. It might not seem like a lot, but it is. If I have any repair skills, I get 20% extra on my repair skills. So if I'm a healer, I get a jump to my my healing capacity, depending on what skills I'm using. And then here, if I put 3 pieces on, I get 10% skill damage. And so that's somewhat a simple way that it works. Okay, so when you take that into consideration, you then look at, so first of all, you look at your core attribute, then you look at pretty much your brand set bonuses, and then you start looking at your attributes. Again, because I want to go in with the skill damage, I'm trying my best to make sure that on my minor attributes, which are pretty much what we call attributes here, I have an extra 10% skill damage. Now, let's go and look at my stats. If you come to my turret here, you're going to see that my turret's damage has 107,649 under specific conditions. There are things I can do to buff that damage way higher. But let's just say with everything that I have on, it's going to grant me 107,000 damage. Now let me switch to something that doesn't have skill damage on it. So I'm going to switch to this mask here. If you notice, it's a gear set mask. It only has one minor attribute and one core attribute. It's different from your yellow items, which have, you know, 2 on the regular attribute side. But let's just switch to it and see what happens to that damage number that I just showed you just now for my turret. Now, if we go back to it, you're going to notice that that number is no longer 107,000. It is now reduced to 95,741. It is this particular methodology that you're going to use to build your agents to be strong. So any skills that you're running, you can go and check your skill stats over here, and you can look at them and see what's being improved and what's not being improved to be able to kind of build and work and piece together your gear from. And that's another really important thing that you must pay attention to. Now, another thing too that you'll notice is if you say, okay, what other core attributes are in the game? Well, right now I have the LMG in my hand called the Pestilence LMG, right? So check this out. Pestilence LMG, its damage is currently, let me make sure that I have what is its damage right now? My weapon damage right now is 61,820 on this Pestilence LMG. In fact, we can look at the numbers here directly on the menu. When I click it, you're going to see 61.8K. That's pretty much what the damage is showing here on the top, middle right corner of the screen. Now, what if I went ahead and added an item that gave me a core attribute of 15% extra weapon damage? Notice this mask only had the core attribute for skill tier to improve my skill. In this case, this one has a core attribute to improve my weapon damage. And that former weapon damage was about 60 something thousand. When we add that extra 10%, that number has gone up from about 61 to about 68,900. Do you see how these attributes, core attributes, and even minor attributes are capable of changing your player power if you were to use them and combine them very appropriately? So you're looking at these parameters and looking at how you can make yourself a build. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, use this particular build or whatever in this video. That's not the point. The point is to say, experiment, try things out, piece things together. If they don't feel powerful enough, don't give up. Challenge yourself to learn how to build, because that will be something that will really come in very handy for you. Not only in saying you learned how to build, but also learning how to sort gear and know what items you want, because you're going to be getting loot. Loot's going to be dropping. You're going to not know what to keep and what not to keep. So if you're engaging in this exercise of piecing your build together, it will make the process a lot easier. Now, there's also the part of your specializations that can also allow for you to improve other damage factors. And again, you will have to experiment, but know this: when you want to use a specialization, you can come here and activate that specialization weapon. Not only are you going to get that weapon, you're also going to get all of the different stats that comes with its particular skill tree. In this case, the survivalist has all of this in its skill tree. So go around and look at all the stats as they're popping up for the different skills that you're pretty much going to be, highlighting, and then just experiment with them. You've got to really play around with the division menus. This is what you're going to spend a good portion of your time learning. But once you learn it, then it becomes second nature for you. Anyways, I'll end this video for now, and I'll leave it open for questions. I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about menus. I'm going to talk about other systems that new players can pretty much engage with in order for them to kind of understand more in a deeper level what these different systems have to offer for them and for their player power. That's it for me. Thank you very much for your time and audience. Appreciate you guys so much for watching the video. Peace out.